So here we are again, Chris. Here we are again. Everybody else, thank you so much for joining me today. Today we're going to be ripping into one of YouTube's favourite sons, Chris Ingham. What, may you ask, has Chris done this time? There's any number of things that he could have done, but specifically, and I'm sure if you're following the situation, you probably already know, but we're going to be talking about it today because it's such a massive issue. And to be honest with you, it scares the fuck out of me. The fact that he is in charge of a vehicle. And so let's go through this together. They were on a nice little country stroll in the van. Not on a stroll, technically, you know, it's really... They went on a hike the other day and it was like half a mile long or something, right? So, yeah. They were in the van. Sarah was telling her elaborate story about how she made some friends and stuff like that. But in the background, the backdrop, what was happening? Let's take a look at this.
And that's just not for me, that's not. So rented out my flat in Brighton, got on my bike and off I went. Oh my god, how amazing is that?
She is so cool.
Oh, she's just got a tent on the back of her bike and she was so lovely. She was literally so, let me just get my seatbelt on because she was literally...
The fact that Sarah says, let's get my seatbelt on, kind of makes me feel like it's a bit of a setup. But even if it is a setup and they're doing this on purpose, it is the most ridiculous thing in the world and does not excuse anything that they've done. So you see they've set off now, and let's take a look.
It's so lovely. I can't, it's so inspirational. 62 years old, just cycling on your own around Europe, seeing the world. She said, this is what life's about. So many lovely people here, isn't there?
Yeah, it's really cool.
She's like, this is what life's about, and it's not sat at home. You know, it's about living and exploring, and makes you feel free. And
I think she's incredible. The fact that she's not doing it like a van or a camper van where you can just kind of hide out.
She's cycling.
She has a tent.
She's a tent on her back of a bicycle.
And she's
gosh.
cycled 3,000 kilometres since leaving Brighton.
Yeah, just over 3,000
kilometres.
kilometres.
How fit and healthy she must be.
And when I said that to her, I was like, well, you must be so fit and healthy. She was like, well, I mean, I don't feel it, but
at the minute, yeah.
my legs obviously work all right. And I'm like, you're joking? Wow, such an incredible, inspirational woman. I'm so like
she's really
inspired by that.
Yeah, we swapped numbers and whatnot.
We swapped numbers. We're going to keep in touch because she was really interested in our life and travels and everything that we do. And obviously we're interested in what she does, so it'll be really awesome to keep in touch with her. This is why I love van life so much. Honestly, you meet so many people that like just live life. And I know that's easy for me to say, and it's not easy for everyone to be able to do what we do, or even possible. And for what she's doing as well, but it's so cool to meet people who do take that leap. I mean, that's scary. That's a scary leap, isn't it? Yes. To do that on your own at 62.
Especially cycling as well.
Cycling on her own.
Yeah, it's amazing.
So incredible. So incredible. Right, we're back on the road. We're heading
Got a long drive now.
How do you work?
Yeah, it's to the place, including the ferry crossing. It's 3 hours and 50, including the ferry.
How long's the ferry though?
Oh, it's a short ferry. It's like a half-an-hour ferry.
So we've got a 3-hour drive?
But then we have to drive to the beach in the island. So so we might have a 2.5-hour drive maybe to get to the ferry port, I don't know.
Okay. Yay.
Okay, so I just let that run through so you could see it in full time, in real time. But now we'll take it back and I'll show you what actually happened and talk you through it. So I've slowed it down and I brightened it, so hopefully you can see. Now if you look in the back, you can see the white skirt just of Isla. And at this very moment you can see she's just leapt up onto the top bunk of the beds. Now she's come down from the bed. She has what looks like an iPad in her hand, and she seems to hand this to possibly Esme, who sat there. And then she heads back off to the top bunk again, by the looks of things. Now this is extremely worrying. Extremely worrying, because it seems like the possibilities there that she is actually going to be just sleeping on the bed, or just lying on the bed whilst the car's in motion, or the van is moving. She's actually going to be staying on the bed whilst... We've talked a lot about seatbelts with this family. A lot about seatbelts, about mainly the situation with Mila and her car seat. We're very familiar with that, and the fact that they stuck her on top of a box, on a very unstable box, instead of an actual proper car seat that was properly attached to the van. We're very familiar with that. However, we don't talk too much about the kids, the girls, and their seating arrangements. I mean, it's always been assumed that something was going on. Probably, maybe they spent the time on the bed whilst they're travelling, you know. But we've never actually seen it in real time. And this may be trolling by Sarah and Chris, but it's not an excuse. Even if it is what that's what they're doing, it's not an excuse. If, God forbid, right, just Chris, listen to me a second. You are responsible for everyone in that car, in that van. Sorry, I keep calling it a car. Everyone in that van, it's your responsibility. You have to take care of your children. You even have to take care of Sarah. You know, as much as we might joke about her, you know, I don't think that she deserves to be in an accident at the hands of you. I know that you feel like your driving is superior to everybody else and you're never going to get in an accident, are you? But you don't know that because you don't know the consequences of other people's actions. You don't have any control over somebody. Say if somebody came along in a massive, bigger than your van. I know it's hard to believe, but there are vans and trucks bigger than yours. If someone came along, smashed into you, that's nothing you can do about that. You know, it's not even your fault. But what is your fault and your responsibility is the safety of everybody in your vehicle. Whilst you're the owner of the vehicle and the driver of the vehicle, it's your responsibility and nobody else's. And so I'll give you a scenario, a worst case scenario. So listen up, Chris, you're going to want to hear this because it involves your children. I know you'd do anything for your kids, wouldn't you? Well, say for instance you're going along at a safe speed, I don't know what it is, in, 50 miles an hour or whatever, going along the backcountry roads in Croatia, and then all of a sudden the person in front of you who's also going at a safe speed of 50 miles an hour or whatever, all of a sudden they brake. They slam on the brakes really hard and, I don't know, there's like a deer or something that's come out in front of them and they have to slam on the brakes so hard. You will have to slam on your brakes so hard, otherwise you're going into the back of them. When you slam on your brakes that hard, you're protected with your seatbelts, probably. Sarah looked like she had her seatbelt on. God knows whether you have. Don't really care. But what happens to Isla, who is wandering about the back of your van? Do you have any clue what's going to happen to her? Do you care what's going to happen to your child? She's 10 years old. Do you know what's going to happen if you slam the brakes on that hard? Or not even that hard, you know? I mean, who... Hands up here, who has been in a car or even on a bus? Say you've been on a bus and you're walking about the bus brakes a little bit, you go flying, right? Multiply that feeling by 100 and you've got what Isla will go through. You slam on the brakes, she goes through the windscreen. It's as simple as that. It's like maybe not even the windscreen. She slams into the bloody table that's in there, or she slams into one of the windows, or she slams into Jace or Mila. She's gonna die, right? And I'm not laughing at that. I'm laughing at your stupidity, Chris. You are an actual moron, and on this occasion you cannot tell us that we were only playing, we were only trolling, or it's the haters, they hate us, they'll twist anything and turn everything into something bad. But it's not, is it? We can see it with our own two eyes. You have done this. Isla is wandering about. God knows, she was hot. At one point, she was just hanging off the edge of the bed. She wasn't even on the bed or on the floor. She was just, I don't know, right? That is one of the most stupidest things that you have ever done. It's up there with the stupid. You've done a lot of stupid things, right? I don't want to really categorize everything you've done, but then another scenario is this, right? You've got Isla lying on the bed, and we still don't know where Isabel was, because she was like, I'm almost certain Esme was on the seats in the front, but we didn't get to see Isabel, so I'm not too sure. But Isla was on the bed, lying on the bed, doing whatever, resting whilst you're driving, because for the love of God, you were driving for like 3.5 hours, right? And you do that every single day. Those kids must be bored. No wonder they want to have a lie down whilst driving, but it's not something that you do. So she's lying on the bed, and then somebody slams into the back of you. Somebody slams into the side of you. She will go flying. She will fly off the bed and onto the floor. She will fly off the bed and smash into the side of the van. She has nothing to protect her, to keep her strapped in if you have an accident. I know it's something you don't even consider, because life is for living, right, Chris? Life isn't for living. You've got to take each day as it comes, but that doesn't mean to say that you have to put your kids at risk just because you want to live your friggin' life in like this bubble that is somehow protects you from everything. No, it doesn't work like that. I've never ever come across somebody as stupid and as ridiculously insane as you towards your kids. You actively want them to get hurt. It's no longer a case of, oh well, they're just, you know, they're risking a little bit here and no, you actually are trying to get your kids hurt. And I've got to say that this is not going to end well. It's not even about laws. I believe Croatia, yes, you also have to wear your seatbelt. It is the law. But it's even not that. You don't need laws to tell you what is safe for your children. And your children need to be in seatbelts whilst they're in a moving vehicle, irrespective of laws or signs or anything else that you want to just say, oh, I didn't see a sign to tell me to do it. No, it doesn't work like that. You have to keep your kids safe, and it worries me to the nth degree that you are not actually doing that. And this is one reason why you vlog ahead of time. It's not because you feel unsafe now and that you don't want people following you. I've seen people in your comments sticking up for you saying, oh, well, they get people following. Nobody's following you to Croatia. Honestly, if anything, you're following. Didn't you say there was a couple that were there the other week where you was the other week? Isn't that you following them, not the other way around? The logic is insane. But the reason for you doing this, what you're doing, vlogging in advance, is purely so that you don't get called out or caught doing shit like this. Imagine if you had been vlogging yesterday, you know, a day ahead, and we saw that you had been doing this, putting your kids at risk again. Do you think that people wouldn't try to make sure it didn't happen? You just want the safety of not being able to of not having to put your kids safe. It's weird. It really, I mean, I'm getting tongue-tied trying to explain it to you. It's just really, really, really insane how you just you don't want to keep your kids safe. I don't know. The end of rant. My all I want to ask you, Chris, is do you actually care about your kids' safety? Just say yes or no. Give me a sign in the next vloggable moment just to say that you actually care. Do something which will tell me that you've actually heard what people have said and you've listened to them. Because I've seen you in the comments, people have said in the comments about Isla not being in the seat, and you've ignored it. You haven't even replied to it or defended yourself or anything. It's like again, it's like you're trying to incite the hate. You've obviously read the comments, but you haven't deleted them and you haven't responded to them. It's very weird. Anyway, please, everybody, take care of yourselves. Strap up when you go out in the van next time, if you have a van. Just take care. Take care of your kids. Take care of yourselves. And I'll see you again soon. Bye-bye.